Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm gonna talk about the top 5 best macro lens for Nikon. Starting at number 5. Nikon FSDX Micro-NIKKOR 40mm. The FSDX Micro-NIKKOR 40mm f2. 8G is the smallest and lightest lens on review, unsurprising given its APS-C format. Pairing it with a camera like the D5600 barely adds any weight while maintaining optimum balance. The lens is made from high-grade plastic and has a metal mount that ensures it fits snugly on your camera. Buying it also gets you a pedal-shaped hood. Autofocus on the FSDX Micro-NIKKOR 40mm f2. 8G is a mixed bag. It is reasonably fast at distances close to infinity and can be improved by turning the focus limiter on. Approaching the minimal focusing distance causes it to slow down, and the lens may start to hunt if it isn't getting enough light. You can override it with manual adjustments at any time with turns of the broad focus ring. It's hard to believe that a lens this sharp costs less than $250. It hits the ground running with strong central sharpness, while the edges are weaker, but by no means soft. The lens follows a pattern we've already established in the review. It gets sharper and stays that way until diffraction starts to interfere at the lowest apertures. The only difference is that it reaches peak performance at f5.6. Other optical properties are fine as well. Flare is minimal and becomes even less pronounced if you attach the hood. A modest amount of pincushion distortion is irrelevant for real-world shots, and the same can be said for lateral chromatic aberration. There is some vignetting you'll want to take care of by shooting JPEGs or lightening up raw files in post. You could technically use the lens with a full-frame camera, but would end up with black corners you'd have to crop. For more information and latest price, check out the product links in description underneath the video. At number 4. Nikon FS Micro-NIKKOR 60mm. The FS Micro-NIKKOR 60mm f2. 8G ED is a streamlined macro lens that's considerably thinner and lighter than its rivals. The matte black polycarbonate body has golden accents and a single switch to toggle from manual to automatic focusing. The lens mount is metal and lined with a rubber gasket for extra protection from moisture and dust buildup. The autofocus is neither awful nor particularly adept. You'll notice slower acquisition speeds if you have a fast prime like the Nikon FS NIKKOR 50mm f1. 8G, but these come into play more if you use the lens for portraits or group shots. Luckily, focus acquisition is accurate and doesn't force you to make manual adjustments. The ring is rubberized and turns smoothly if you do need to make the occasional tweak. It's a testament to the FS Micro-NIKKOR 60mm f2. 8G ED's quality that you can snap architectural photos at f2.8 without worrying about soft corners. Sharpness keeps improving across the frame as you approach f8, and the lens is still exceptional at f11. You can narrow the aperture to f16 if you want appealing sun stars in your images, but stepping down further is unadvisable. This is one of the best lenses we've ever tested when it comes to distortion. You'll notice it only in lab tests since it doesn't exceed 0.1%. There's some California at wider apertures that quickly clears up once you're at f5.6 or lower. Expect smooth background blur and nice-looking bokeh, although blowing images up at f2.8 shows onion rings at times. Halfway of my listed number 3. Tamron AF700 and 700 SP90mm. The SP90mm f2.8 VC United States dollars is among the best looking and best constructed lenses on review. Its body is metal and weather sealed, which makes the lens ideal for wildlife close-ups. It has 2 anti-glare coatings and a layer of fluorine on the outer glass to better resist smudging and raindrops. It supports 62mm filters, and the frontmost element is easy to clean since it is close to the rim. Tamron uses ultrasonic silent drives for quiet and speedy autofocus in most lighting. The SP90mm f2.8 VC United States dollars can hesitate when acquiring focus and settles on its target after some back and forth. However, this doesn't happen frequently. You can speed up the autofocus even more by setting the limiter switch to a range of 0.3 to 0.5 meters. Vibration compensation isn't as effective as Nikon's vibration reduction and promises correction at a maximum of 3.5 stops. That's enough to make you leave the tripod at home for most situations, though. The SP90mm f2. 8 VC United States dollars produces images with excellent central sharpness, no matter the aperture. Its corners border on soft at f2. 8 and make a leap in quality at f4. Sharpness across the frame continues to improve until its apex at f8. The lens maintains high contrast levels and holds its own against flares unless you're shooting straight into the sun. The lens has an academic amount of pincushion distortion that's irrelevant for field performance. Vignetting is handled well for a macro lens and never exceeds 1.5 stops. You can pull off attractive background blur with seamless transitions between colors, while bokeh has visible edges at f2.8 that don't pose a problem. Coming in at number 2. Sigma 105mm f2. 8xD GOS HSM Macro. The 105mm f2. 8xD GOS HSM weighs the same as Nikon's lens, but is narrower and fits better on APS-C camera. It's not designated as being weather-sealed, but the rubberized plastic body and strategically placed metal elements speak of quality nevertheless. The focus ring might feel stiff until you break it in, and a metal mount ensures a strong connection to your camera. The lens comes with a barrel-shaped hood with support for an extender that offers even more protection from glaring light. Sigma uses hypersonic motors to deliver quiet and reasonably fast autofocus. The 105mm f2. 8xD GOS HSM snaps to targets near and far in good time, even in poorly lit environments. You can speed it up further by toggling the focus limiter. The SO in its name stands for optical stabilization, a shake reduction system comparable to Nikon's. You'll get the maximum 4 f-stops out of it for far-away targets as the benefit for close-ups is negligible. The 105mm f2. 8xD GOS HSM allows its user a higher degree of creative freedom for macro shots, since changing the aperture has little effect on its central sharpness. It starts out very well and culminates in excellent territory by the time you reach f5.6. The edges and corners improve more aggressively and reach their peak at f8. You can confidently shoot up to f16 if you don't mind some detail loss due to diffraction. We love the 105mm f2. 8xD GOS HSM's bokeh quality and the uniform blur it imparts to out-of-focus backgrounds. Highlights don't have harsh borders and fringing is controlled better than on most fast primes. There's no barrel distortion or lateral California, and shooting with the sun in the frame causes artifacts only in extreme cases you can avoid by shifting your position. And number 1. Nikon FSVR Micro-NIKKOR 105mm. The FSVR Micro-NIKKOR 105mm f2. 8G IFED is a well-built, if hefty lens that looks bulky on smaller cameras. Its barrel is made from metal and sports large VR and N tags. These indicate image stabilization and a nano crystal coat applied to the backmost element that combats flare. The focus ring is generously white and turns smoothly. This is one of the first lenses to use Nikon's silent wave technology in autofocus motor construction. Its operation is characteristically quiet, but the lens does tend to hunt more than models meant for different purposes. That isn't a problem for macro work that heavily relies on manually tweaking the focus anyway, which you can do at any time. The lens also has vibration reduction and compensates for 4 stops, allowing you to lower the shutter speed while shooting handheld. Outstanding sharpness from the get-go is the FSVR Micro-NIKKOR 105mm f2. 8G IFED's best attribute. It's tack sharp in the middle as a macro lens should be, but we were more impressed with its edges and corners. They fall behind the center on f2.8 yet close the gap by f4 and are identical at f5.6. This lets you create uniformly sharp images and means you can use the lens for architecture or interior photography with excellent results. Nano crystal coating and the FSVR Micro-NIKKOR 105mm f2. 8G IFED's deep circular hood keep flares at bay, while its 14 elements in 12 groups control chromatic aberration on all but the smallest aperture sizes. Barrel distortion is non-existent for practical purposes as it doesn't exceed 0.33%. For more information and latest price, check out the product links in description underneath the video. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you found it helpful. Please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any question, you can leave a comment below.